Good morning. Today we are going to do a beautiful poem by Lord Byron, She Walks in Beauty. Let me first start with an introduction to Lord Byron. Lord Byron was an outstanding poet of the 19th century. His greatest contribution to English literature is his passion. He is essentially a poet of man, but in his description of nature, he is the most original. He paints admirable pictures of nature in their calm as well as fiery mood. There are two stages in Byron's appreciation of nature, that is, childhood and adulthood. His poems are mainly an autobiographical, and the various aspects of the poet's own personality can be witnessed in the different passage of his poems. As a romantic poet, his poems have great energy of eloquence, love of melancholy, exuberance of feeling and expression, and above all, a tremendous zeal for life. For a long period, Byron had been regarded as a poet whose reputation was better in the foreign countries than in his own. But in the recent years, this balance has been redressed. He was lionized, adored by the people of Europe, and he responded with a mixture of wonder, love, and excitement. She Walks in Beauty. She Walks in Beauty was written in June 1814 when Byron met his cousin Annie Wilmot at a ball. This is perhaps the best known period of Byron's life. As a poet, his personality became immensely influential and popular throughout Europe. He was also the most notorious poet. He was well known for his love affairs and amorous nature. The poem is the highest glorification of beauty, a passionate admiration, and an excessive appreciation which amounts to adulation. It can rightly be called an adulation of his cousin. Byron describes the beauty of the lady as perfect and flawless. He asserts that her beauty is matchless and, with the help of simile, compares her to a cloudless night with stars shining brightly. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies. He says that just as a night is beautiful, a night which is devoid of any clouds, a night where the stars are shining, similarly, his cousin Annie Wilmot is devoid of any type of blemishes, and she is as bright as the stars. In her beauty, there is a perfect combination of light and darkness. She is so well molded that there is nothing gaudy and harsh in her beauty. And he says, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes. See, a lady's beauty is a perfect combination of brightness and darkness. The hairs look beautiful when they are dark. The eyebrows, the eyelashes, and the eyelids look beautiful when they are dark, whereas the complexion looks beautiful when it is bright. And therefore, his cousin had the perfect combination of both dark and bright. Aspect here means the face, thus mellow to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. The poet compares the calm, the peaceful, the serene beauty of his cousin to the beauty of the night. He says her beauty is not as harsh and gaudy as the beauty of the day, but it is a mellowed, a tender, a very pious, a very peaceful, serene beauty. One shade the more, one ray the less, has hard paired the nameless grace, which waves in every raven tress, or softly lightens over her face. He says that if there would have been any changes in the beauty of the lady, if the shade, that is the dark color, would have been 1 degree more, or the brightness would have been 1 degree less, it would have half impaired, means half spoiled, the nameless grace, the elegance, the beauty of the lady. So these two lines, this couplet shows that the beauty of the lady is absolutely perfect. It does not need any change. Now, her waves in every raven tress. So waves here means her hair, which are as black as the raven. It is a metaphor. And her face is shining brightly. So she does not need any kind of improvement. There is no room of improvement in the beauty of the lady. where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure, how dear their dwelling place. And the poet goes on to say that the beauty of the lady is not only physical, it is also mental and spiritual. Because he says that the mind of the lady is as beautiful as her physical beauty. Her thoughts are serene, calm, peaceful, sweet, and her mind, which is the dwelling place, which is the home of her thoughts, is as clean, as serene, as pure, as peaceful as the beauty of the lady. And on that cheek and over that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent. And he says that the beauty of the lady, the elegance, the purity, the serenity is very well visible on her cheeks, on her forehead. There is no grudge, there is no frown on her forehead. Her beauty is soft, her beauty is calm, and yet it is very elegant. The smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tells of days in goodness spent. So, the beauty of the lady is an indication that she is a very pure, serene, pious lady. We say that our face is the mirror of our heart, and this is very well true in this poem, where the face of the lady expresses the beauty which is inside her. So, she is a person who is beautiful inside out, a mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent. She does not have any grudges, any complaint, any kind of dissatisfaction or frustration towards any humankind. And when this deep satisfaction comes in your life, you have a serene and a calm expression on your face. She has a heart whose love is innocent, means that she is full of love towards every human being in this world. The poet expresses the spiritual beauty of the lady. Her countenance is a mirror which perfectly reflects the beautiful thoughts in her mind. Innocence is also clearly reflected on her face, and she has an impressive smile which wins the heart of the people. The beauty of her face is a proof that she has led a virtuous past. She has loved all, and her love was innocent. We can recall a couplet of Wordsworth, which are a companion of Byron's poem. Quote, a countenance in which did meet sweet records and promises as sweet. Unquote. Therefore, we may conclude that the beauty of the poem lies in the fact the language is lucid, simple, and without any trace of exaggeration. There is a careful avoidance of mere decoration in the style, and the poet meticulously chooses the most appropriate words in praise of the lady, and here lies Byron's genius. Thank you.